All right, now we can actually talk about this game. Again, if I didn't have this type of shot equality, I don't know what you guys would do. So there's some hype behind our Terran, and obviously there's a legacy behind our Protoss. So what are your initial thoughts?
I can give my initial thoughts. Just give me a quick second. Sorry, I'm having a few players message me about when they're playing right now, so I'm trying to answer the questions.
Okay, I'll keep talking then. So there's two ships passing in the night. It's the SCV and the probe. So Dewalt obviously gets the heads up first that Terran is definitely in the direction that he is scouting. But funnily enough, oh my gosh, I thought Terran was actually going to scout Dewalt first, that Gomdor was. But he went to the bottom right instead. Still, their scout patterns is pretty good. The SCV does see the probe now, so he definitely knows where Protoss is. Dewalt, funnily enough, doesn't know where Gomdor is. His scouting has been pretty unlucky, but does look like... What the heck? He might get tricked into thinking that Gomdor is at 5 o'clock because of the way that Marine came out. Looked like he was scouting. Nope, he is going to check, and he is going to find him at 3. So, all right, everybody knows that's kind of the first little fun, interesting part of the game is just to see how fast they find each other. It changes the dynamic really, really fast. Look at this SCV just chilling in the base too. Dewalt did go Nexus first, and that is, I would say, a more common, fastest Protoss build, and he is getting his cybernetics core relatively quickly, I'd say. Sometimes you could just power up on 3 gates or go for a cannon pressure. And look at that, Terran's trying to hold a little bit of map control. Got some more cannons for Dewalt. It's kind of funny this first little bit. He has to protect himself since he went Nexus first. You don't want to have just a bunch of SCVs and Marines bust down your front door before you can get your production really rolling. But it won't be long until it's Dewalt's turn to be out on the map and in front of Terran's base. On Terran's side, he went fast CC. Probe gets in for a full scout. He's going towards his factory already. And down here at the bottom, all of his supply depots. Looks like this is going to be his academy. And then I already pointed out the factory. So again, it's just about kind of keeping Protoss honest, at least in my opinion, to keep Protoss honest while you can until you get pushed out, because I imagine these are going to be Dragoons, but maybe not. We've got his robotics facility coming up. And that's pretty standard to get into drops as quick as you can and start punishing Terran for existing. That's just the way that it goes. It is a Dragoon. But I don't see that he got range or anything. No +1, no range, so it will probably be, I would imagine, a fast Reaver. Dewalt loves to use his Reavers, and he does use them very well. And on
Yeah, the Dragoon is primarily just to get rid of the CV. But yeah, we didn't see Bill or Gomdor scout the robotics facility, but I'd have to imagine he didn't see additional gateways, so even though he didn't see it, he should be getting prepared. And we see him sort of bring his Marines back. And he'll also eventually start bunkering up and potentially walling to avoid that bust while he's defending.
Yeah. His SCV was in there for a long time, but you're right. It probably didn't go up to where the cannons were, which is right where the Robo Bay was. And down in the bottom right of Dewalt's base, really quick, he's just got his robotic support bay, and he's getting his Citadel of Badoon. So it's crazy how fast these guys go up the tech tree, especially in a 1v1, but it's pretty normal.
Yeah, and we see Bill or Gomdor. Sorry, I'm going to have to correct myself multiple times, but we see Gomdor adjusting his build. He goes 3 CC as he sees Dewalt get his second Nexus early. So pretty much going for, or taking advantage of the fact that he went for an economic build. So he himself is going for an even greedier build. And, you know, with minimal defenses, he should look like he's going to hold this fine. With these close positions, yeah, I think based on the turret line and the fact that he's getting a Wraith for vision, he should be able to hold this perfectly fine unless just execution goes wrong. With these close proximity distances, we should also see Gomdor tech to drops relatively early, as they would be very powerful considering sort of the rush distance or the drop distance here.
Yeah, we do see that first drop coming out. And I wonder if it'd be beneficial for him to I guess you got to save every little bit of money that you can. Oh my gosh, the one hole. It's not even really a hole. It's just, oh no, he's gonna lose that Reaver. Oh, okay.
Oh,
That's crazy.
how did that turret see that shuttle? It was flying over the cliff and it was still getting attacked, but
By both turrets
um,
for a second, that was amazing placement.
mhm.
That's going to take the wind out of sails of Dewalt just a little bit. And with that shuttle being so low, to that Wraith, he's sharking for it. He's already sent it out, kind of what the pathway it would be where it'd send. I really like what... Dude, Dewalt evolves every time he plays. He's got way more spotter pylons this time. His probe's pretty active on the map. It's cool to watch him get better at fastest too, as good of a player that he already is. It's fun.
We're seeing the classic go up to 5 racks while beginning tech into factories for Gomdor. So at this point, we've seen this a few times already, but in case anyone needs sort of help or is curious, you're primarily using the Marina medics to defend against the drops, strictly for DPS purposes. And then once you start to get 3/3 upgrades, once you max out, that's sort of the point when you start pushing. So we're pretty much going to be seeing Dewalt sort of impose his will in the beginning, where he's constantly dropping, constantly trying to harass, take out Gomdor's SCVs, while Gomdor is basically playing survival.
Yeah, which he's got to be careful, Dewalt does, because Gomdor really hasn't... He never finished that missile turret, by the way. And it's crazy that these Dragoons can reach all the way across. Oh no, that Wraith, that would have been so perfect. But yeah, Gomdor really hasn't been slowed down too much. However, that can change very drastically as soon as he starts to lose these turrets. And another thing I was thinking about too, I was going to say this earlier, but at risk of sounding even more dumb because I don't need any help, I was going to bring up it might be worth it for him to build a few engineering bays to float around. It's like, nah, I'm not going to say anything. And he did. He built a few extra. He built one at the top, one at the bottom, just so he's got that vision. And I thought the Wraith was going to fulfill that role. It didn't end up. And this is interesting. He is going to use the high ground for Dragoons. Oh, these tanks are going to be really good too. Oh my gosh.
These Dragoons are getting their worth right now. Having them expertly on the cliffs like that and just taking pot shots is not going to shred the Marines like Reaver or High Templar would, but it's enough to basically, draw fire and cause their AI to go really wonky. Now, Gomdor is going to have to respect this. I think he's going to have to bring a couple of tanks and siege. Otherwise, he may be at risk of honestly just getting pushed and losing his Marina medic. So let's see the great Reaver control. He loses one Reaver, loses a shuttle, loses a second.
He almost got the double armory, and that would have been sick. And the other thing that I was reacting to a second ago is he was playing on the knife's edge with that 8 HP shuttle, somehow got it out while he was still elevating everything to the top. I couldn't believe it. So I think it was a little bit wasteful for Dewalt. I think it was a good start and a good idea, and maybe if he got both the armories, it would have been good. But I do think that Gomdor was patient like he needed to be. He saved the armories. He did trade out his army, but that doesn't matter because he's supply blocked right now. But he hasn't lost his SCVs 100 times or had to run them around 100 times. So this is really clean so far. And honestly, it feels like Dewalt's being a little bit more subdued in his play. A little bit of drops, but nothing too insanely aggressive.
He seems to be looking to tech into the late game a little earlier. We see on the 7 o'clock, he's actually teching the carriers pretty quickly. That's unfortunate he lost that shuttle, but
I don't know if I had anything
right
in
now, Gomdor is at a great position. I mean, he's defending everything, the 2 sort of attempts so far, while having 8 barracks, getting multiple starports now. So yeah, Gomdor right now is in a great position. Meanwhile, Dewalt hasn't really been able to get any sort of offense going. So I think Dewalt, recognizing that, is just going to opt for a carrier play.
Yeah, looks like he's tucking him away in the corners in case he gets scanned. And that's a very smart thing to do too, just kind of keep him away, far away from the main stage that you possibly can until they're ready. And I do think that Gomdor will be ready with these 6 starports, so he knows what he needs to transition to. Looks like he's going to get Cloak as well. Both of their vision on the map is really good. Dewalt is...
I wonder if he's going to try and bust the choke. With the wall that Zealots can go through, but how efficient they'll be is the question. Now he does have a lot of money, so he could just remax pretty quickly, but
As long as he keeps building more gateways, since he's got the money, all the gateways, or start building them in another base. And oh, he's killing off his own zealots away from what Gomdor can see. So he's not throwing his army away per se. It's a fight club up here at 12 o'clock. So you can afford these carriers. Sweet.
let's see what kind of drop it has. Good storm, great positioning. The Marines actually can't get in close, so the storm's got a decent amount of units there.
Yeah,
One
I
more
think
storm. There we go.
I think he's happy trading out all this bio because he wants mech anyway, mech and air. And also Dewalt does see that Gomdor has all these starports, so this is turning into something very interesting. I knew that it would be based off of what everyone was saying about Gomdor and what we know about Dewalt. It is, I don't know, it's still surprising me. I noticed also that Dewalt went armor first. I don't know if that's normal. Now he's got 1-1-1, I think. But it was just something that I noticed at the beginning. Ooh, this might. So yeah, now it's Gomdor's turn to be aggressive.
Right, he hasn't scanned the 7 o'clock area yet, so I'm not sure if he's fully aware that he is eventually taking the carrier. So if there is a time to push out, this is it, where the Walt's army isn't fully maxed out because the carriers are currently in transition. And he's building all these cannons to basically hold on for as long as he can, delay until the carriers are out. Now the carriers just popped out, but is he able to sort of delay this advancement long enough for the carriers to actually fill up on interceptors? So
For sure.
great trade by Dewalt there. I think he caught Gomdor's army. Oh, great storms. Actually takes out all of those on the cliff.
Yep, I caught the very last two. I was thinking the same thing. He was going to trade out his army, but all of that bio tank that was in transition to attack 6 o'clock totally got annihilated, slowed everything down. And yeah, he's going to have what? He's already got freaking 5 carriers, 6 carriers. Oh my gosh. Like you said, he does need to make interceptors for him, but he's held this really well. And I don't see Gomdor's only building probably 2 dropships at a time. Where do you think that scan was?
It was at the choke.
Yeah.
Now, Dewalt is mixing this up well. He's still incorporating Reaver play with, obviously, the gateway units, and eventually we'll see carriers come in. So I think he's sort of doing a good job disguising what he has so far. We don't see Gomdor actually fully commit to Cloaked Wraiths yet, but
He's got 1-1 on his airship, so that's good.
now this is definitely, as the carriers come inbound, the moment of truth. We have a couple of observers straight around everywhere. We have 2 Corsairs to deal with potential Cloaked Wraiths, but you know, how quickly is Gomdor going to be able to respond? He has a lot of money banked up because he essentially has been not harassed at all.
Right.
So as long as he's solid this micro, I think we're looking at a great position right now for Terran.
I think he'll have time. I don't think he's even still seen the carriers, but he has enough Wraiths. He's got enough Valkyries. He has even Goliaths. He's pushing out in the middle of the map. And he's pushed so far forward that Dewalt right now just showed that he had carriers because he's got to clean up the pathway to Gomdor's base. So yeah, I think it is. I think he does have enough time to respond to it. I do think that the game will continue, which is, what do we do next? Because most of the time, one player or the other already has the edge at this point, and I feel like it's going to be pretty even. However, right now, Dewalt definitely has the initiative.
Yeah, Dewalt definitely took the carrier route early as he wasn't getting the success that he normally would expect with those shuttles. Now, as he's sort of knocking on the choke, this is sort of dire for Gomdor. He's going to want to get not only Wraiths out to handle the carriers, but also tanks as well, obviously, to deal with the potential gateway units coming in. The Valks are doing a great job straying away the carriers.
Yeah.
And he's pumping these units out very well. He had like a Marine medic army immediately.
For sure. It was, I don't see him macroing this part now. He's probably just, again, he's already maxed anyway. That's the big thing. But for how good those storms were, he's still maxed. This is why you have to storm drop or reaver drop or whatever Terran 100 times, because this gets crazy. He's pre-scanned as these DTs came out. The Valkyries are already ready. This is looking dire a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah, thankfully, well, not thankfully, I mean, depending on your perspective, but Protoss or any race in general is never really out of it until their production buildings are gone. So even if they're knocking at the choke right here, you know, it's not like Dewalt is gone yet, but with these units slowly getting closer and inching, these Valks, oh my
Look
god,
how
they get on
many
top
he
of
has.
these carriers.
Split your carriers.
Oh, these carriers are getting.
They're gonna
oh man,
evaporate.
they're getting so weak right now. You see them desperately spreading them right now to keep them from dying. Oh, but here they go. They're at such low health right now. If another wave comes, I think these carriers are done for. So I'm wondering if the wall is actually going to start transitioning back to gateways to maybe offset the Vox. But yeah, these carriers are, oh, they're so damaged right now.
So low. He's doing the same. Well, he's got +2 shields probably because he's doing that with a bio. Oh, and Terran is actually going to scout where the carriers are even coming from. Like, he knew they were coming from somewhere. So he does see it now down at 7 o'clock. So that's just yet another spot that he can attack. Terran really has been microing so well. And I don't know if this is a Gomdor thing. Most of the time we see Terran probably hold on to bio for a little bit. Just when we play threes, you want to be off of bio, and I've seen and even used bio to counter carriers to some success. So it's cool that there's still some versatility of having bio, like defensively to counter drops, kind of help protect.
So
his
we're seeing
main.
a potential drop coming in. So I think this is
Yeah,
really
go
the primary way of getting himself back into the game. But I would like to see him pair it with Corsairs and multiple shuttles. He has just a shuttle with 2 Reavers, but I think going after the mineral line at this point is what's gonna not only delay the potential push, but also get him back into the game. But
If you can get these upgrades, that'll be a huge win, which I think he will. Last shot, wow. All these carriers are starting to go down though. That carrier fleet has been reduced, and yeah, like you said, he would mix in like 1 or 2 Corsairs, but not a ton. This push is coming in. I think the carrier tech is going to be dead.
yeah, it's not looking good for Dewalt right now. He is definitely getting backed into a corner, and Gomdor is slowly opening him up like a can. He can actually take out that 1 pylon, but I don't think it really matters too much. The carrier production is basically almost null at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, he's looking out for the observer. He picks
Yeah.
up the observer, and now these carriers are not long for this world.
And like we just said, he didn't go straight down and try to defend this 7 o'clock position, which it wasn't too scary, but with the Wraiths, it is definitely scary. Oh, there's some Reavers, so he might hold it, but they're going to take out that shuttle. They're going to be able to take out these Reavers. One of them is very, very damaged as it is. So I do think, yeah, 7 o'clock is out. He's going to have to switch back into Protoss Bio, and I guess I'll just say ground units, but Protoss Bio sounds more fun to me. Anyway, dude, his supply is down. I'm not really used to seeing that with Protoss. Terran's still maxed. A huge bank. Terran, hilariously enough, could get rid of some of his SCVs so he could have a bigger army at this point.
If the wall was able to mix in potential storm drops or threaten the Reaver drop along with having the carriers sort of defend, I think that would have been a great play. Not to say that the wall is completely dead in the water yet, but it's not looking good with all these mass wraiths eventually picking off the High Templars. Dude, and the ground unit will eventually be overrun by Terran mech.
He used a disruption web and he's storming the Wraiths. Just 1 or 2 more good storms and all those Wraiths will disappear. They're weak, and the Bio's weak to storms too. Oh my gosh. But Gomdor's still staying at like 200. He's almost maxed still. So it's like Dewalt can't build enough army to capitalize on an opening that he makes for himself. Yeah, you get rid of all the Wraiths, but now he's just going to remax on Bio Tank and he's going to be able to push again. It's not like he can rebuild carriers now that the Wraiths are dead. That was crazy.
Yeah. He had some good storms, but there just weren't actual units behind them to actually capitalize, unfortunately.
I think some of them were. Some, like, he blanketed the Wraiths and he got the Bio with it. He cleared what was essentially a max Terran army. It's just that Terran remaxed again so quickly, and he isn't able to. He doesn't have enough, as many gateways as he has, he doesn't have enough gateways, or he didn't rebuild his Stargates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even if he had killed the units at the choke, Gomdor still had a lot of units at 7. and in production. And with those storms, yeah, but there were maybe 10 Dragoons coupled with this, so it wasn't a catastrophic attack.
Yeah, there's no meat behind it. The
Right,
Wraiths are back too.
Yeah, plus the Wraiths weren't meant to, deal damage. They were meant to basically pick off the High Templars, and
And carriers.
the D-Web was cool, but... Right, well, now the carriers are gone. It's now meant to pick off the High Templars, but now with him knocking at the choke, I think we may see Dewalt tap out soon, but... Oh, Great Storm. He's hanging on right now very well with these storms.
Yeah.
But I think with no Zealot support, we may not see the gateways last much longer. I think potentially Gomdor could unsiege and just A-move in.
Yeah, I think so. He doesn't have consistent detection, so I think that DTs are a somewhat good play. I don't know how much. I mean, I can do a check really quick. Okay, so he still has plenty of scans. All right, there it is. It happened! Our first
Great
game.
by Gomdor.